Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very different kind of video. Today we're going to be talking about Doom Eternal, its DLCs, the ideas I have for them, and we're also going to be talking a little bit about the Doom Slayer's lore and his origin. So if you haven't played Doom Eternal yet, don't watch the video. Just saying. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with the first DLC idea I have, which is going to be quite simple to talk about, and it is that we finally get to find out what happened at the end of Doom 2016 to make up to the way to Doom Eternal. Because as we know, the end of Doom 2016, Samuel Hayden takes the Crucible off us and sends us to an unknown location. Then the beginning of Doom Eternal, we're on the Fortress of Doom, ready to kick ass for the demons that are on Earth. So that'd be pretty good if that was one of the DLCs. Don't think it will be, that might get explained later on down the line. So yeah. Right, now we're going into the second DLC idea of mine, and this one is where we're going to be going into a lot of the lore of the Doom Slayer. So I hope you're ready for it. So, DLC idea number 2. When playing Doom Eternal, you are teleported to the planet Sentinel Prime, and while there, you are there to kill the third and final Hell Priest, which are responsible for the reason why the demons are on Earth. I know, arrives on Sentinel Prime, and makes his way towards the giant Colosseum arena. As you're walking down the corridor to the elevator, you get on the elevator and you go down. As going down, just before it hits the floor, a flashback appears of 2 Sentinel soldiers dragging someone towards 2 of the 3 Hell Priests. And they say that they found this outsider wandering around the city gates, basically, and they pass the helmet. Now the helmet is of the Doom Guy, not the Doom Slayer, the Doom Guy, the armor from Doom 1, 2 and Doom 64. And so when I saw this I was like, oh shit, this is good. And the more interesting fact is, well, I'll let you watch the cutscene and then I'll talk about it.
We found him in the valley, just outside the castle walls. He was badly wounded and wearing this.
Guts. Huge guts. Kill them. Must kill them all.
He has fight in him yet.
In spite of his injuries.
Send him to the arena. Let him be judged like the others.
After seeing that, you probably heard what I heard, the Doom Guy talking about guts and how they were demons and ripping and tearing. That's pretty fucking cool. So, as you heard one of the Hell Priests say, well, they're not Hell Priests at this point, but they're priests, they said to take the outsider to the arena. Now, with the Night Sentinels, they put the prisoners they capture and the anyone who's new that arrives, so prisoner, and they also take the criminals and they put them in the arena, and they are to fight for the chance to regain their honor and join the Night Sentinels. Now, the Night Sentinels put the Doom Guy in the arena with several other people. Alright, some are criminals, some are prisoners, and I don't think he's going to last that long. But boy are they wrong, and I'll show you with the cutscene now.
You'll make a fine addition to the front lines, stranger.
The demons! They are everywhere. Must kill them all!
Dress his wounds and bring him to us. I want to know more about the others he speaks of.
Yes, Your Grace.
As you saw in the cutscene, Doom Guy completely and utterly destroys every single opponent, and at the end shouts, "Rip and tear." And you hear that a lot, you hear that in Doom 2016, you hear that in Doom Eternal a lot. And you actually hear it in the Doom novels, in the Doom novels of Knee Deep in the Dead, and you hear it a couple of other places as well. So, as you can see, one of the priests comes up to the Slayer, the Doom guy, and says, "You will make a fine addition to the front line," because that's what he has now earned. Because he's beaten all of the combatants, he has now earned the chance to fight alongside the Knight Sentinels in the front line. He is not a Knight Sentinel, but he can fight with them. So, as they're talking, and the Doom guy is talking about the demons and all that, the Khan Maker appears and asks the priest to heal the outsider's wounds and to bring him to her, because she wants to know more about who he's talking about. And she doesn't want to just know about the demons, she wants to know about his Earth as well. Now, and this is where we get into a little bit of a confusion, because I see the Doom universe having 3 dimensions. Dimension 1 holds Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 64, the original. Dimension 2 is for Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. And Dimension 3 is for Doom 3. Yes, I know it's because it's free, I put it there. But I say that because with what we've learned in those 2 cutscenes and what we know of so far, the Doom Slayer is the same person as in Doom 1, 2 and Doom 64. And they redid the ending to Doom 64, so actually what it says at the end, it goes along with one of the demon template thingies they did in Doom 2016. So, now that we know this, and also Hayden says in Doom 2016, when you return from hell, I think it's just before you return or just before you go, you are the only flesh and blood to walk between dimensions. This proves the theory that this is the same person. So, now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to get into a little bit more lore from what you get in Doom Eternal, from the 14 pages of the Book of Kings, and it talks about the history of the Sentinels, the Khan Makers, the war, and all that. So, let's get into it. So, after the stranger had earned the right to fight in the front lines with the Sentinels, but as I say again, not as a Knight Sentinel, he was put into the army. However, the same way that the Doom Marine, or Doom Guy, found his way into the Sentinel Prime through this new dimension, the demons from Dimension 1 also found their way. Now, people would say that there's loads of different dimensions, right? So there must be loads of different hells. Well, no, you'd be wrong, because hell itself in this game is sort of in between the dimensions. So let's say, for example, think of a ball pit. Each ball is a different dimension. The pit itself is hell, which holds all the different dimensions. And they can go from one dimension to another. So hell is always the same. That's how the demons always know about the Doomslayer, or the Doom Marine, right? So that's my theory, and that's sort of concrete. There's some places that holes could be blown for it, but other than that, it's fine. So, the demons find a way into this dimension, Dimension 2. And they take the Knight Sentinels by surprise, and they start fighting. Now the Knight Sentinels, they fight back. With all of their might, they fight back. But what they didn't expect was that the outsider knew about these demons and knew how to kill them. And as legions of the Knight Sentinels would fall, the Doom guy would always survive and return. He'd always be on his own. Each time he'd go into a fight, he'd come back stronger, but he'd always be alone. Now, the king, at the time, saw this, and he saw the immense strength and anger that this man, this one being, had, and how he had survived all of the horror, in a way. So the king says, right, he will no longer be just someone we've asked to fight with us. He will now become one of us as a Knight Sentinel, a brother in arms. Now, I don't know if some of the Knight Sentinels didn't agree with this, because before they had never let a newcomer, especially someone of not their own people, join them. But they took exception to this one being for the immense power and anger he had. And so, on that day, the Doom guy joined the Knight Sentinels. So, the Doom guy was trained, and as you can see from the picture, you can see now, if you can see, you see the Doom guy fighting with a Sentinel with blades. But if you look at the person in the back, that is the Betrayer. Now we'll get onto the Betrayer in a bit later on, and I'll talk about him later. But yes, he is there. Now, the holy city of Taras Nabad, probably butchered it, but you know, which was the main capital on Sentinel Prime for the Knight Sentinels, was attacked out of nowhere by the demons, and they rushed in, and they started to destroy all in their path. Now, the Knight Sentinels and their new ally, or brother, or as they have said, their new weapon, started to fight them off. But this time the demons came with a little bit more firepower. They brought a Titan. Now a Titan is a massive demon of immense power. And even though the Doom guy was powerful enough to fight everything, the Titan was not one of those things he could destroy. But even though Knight Sentinel fell after Knight Sentinel, the stranger, yelling at the top of his lungs, "Rip and tear," was left fighting. And those in the arena and those around saw the amazing power and fury that this one stranger had. And he took down legions of demons, legions and legions. Warose was no longer the Doom guy, but who would be then called the Great Slayer. And in the city of Taras Nabad, on that day, the Doom Slayer's legend was born, when he killed his first Titan and rallied the Knight Sentinels to him to drive back the demons. Fortunately, with every story, there is a good ending and a bad ending. And what came next would lead to civil war between the Knight Sentinel people. And this is because they were split down the middle, with loyalties to the Khan Maker and others loyal to the king. Now we know which side the Doom guy was on, or the Doom Slayer at this point, because he was on the side of the king. And this came about, this split, when a group of Knight Sentinels with the Doom Slayer went into hell and saw a factory which was using the dead Sentinels' brothers and sisters for the essence that they used. And the factory itself was of Maker design, which means the Makers had made a deal with the demons themselves, and in a way betrayed the Knight Sentinel people. When the Sentinels from that mission returned and spoke about what they saw, others said, "Blasphemy! How dare you talk against the Khan Maker?" And there were those that believed them, and those that did not. And so a civil war started. Now, in Doom Eternal there are Marauders, who have the somewhat similar armor design to the Doom Slayer. And that is because they are the ones who chose to stay with the Khan Maker, who promised them great power and enhanced them with demon powers as well. And unfortunately, this then turned into a battle against brother versus brother. And so a plan was devised to destroy the factory within Nerakov. It's a place in hell. Again, I butchered the name. The Slayer and his army of sentinels pushed for the factory. Now the priests had told them that the way was clear, unknowing that when they set foot in hell, they would not be able to return. Because the priests and one other had betrayed the Night Sentinels and the Slayer. As the Night Sentinels and the Slayer walked through, the portal closed and the army was scattered across the wasteland. With no way back, all they could do was fight. And everyone, well, mostly everyone died. I mean, there's not much they could do. I mean, they were betrayed from the highest level by the priests that had sworn loyalty to the Sentinel people, who had then turned and instead given the support to the Khan Maker. But the worst betrayal was from one of their own, who we call the Betrayer. So I'll go into a bit of detail for the Betrayer. So the Betrayer was a Sentinel commander. I think he was a commander. And he lost his son in a battle with the demons. And he had nightmares about his son being horribly, beaten and bruised and killed by the demons. So he made a deal with the priest, one of the three priests. If they bring his son back, he would tell the demons how to defeat the Sentinel people, which is where the Wraiths come in for Doom 2016. And the priest said, yes, we will bring your son back. And so he did it. Unfortunately for him, he should know never to make deals with the devil or the devil's workers, because his son came back, but not as human. His son became the icon of sin. A demon which is used to destroy planets and get them ready for hell to take over. And because of this, he had not only had he lost his family and his son, but he had betrayed his brothers and sisters in arms. And for that, he decided to exile himself to hell forever. After this betrayal, all the Sentinels died, but one, who still fought the armies of hell and was still waging the unholy crusade. The Doom Slayer. Here is where the demons would really start to fear him, because the angrier he got, the more powerful he became. The Khan Maker knew this, and so did the demon priests, that he was the only one that could stop their plans of what they wanted to do with the power of Argent Energy. And so a plan was devised. The priests would lure the Doomslayer into a building. They would then bring said building down on top of him, move him from his armor and weapons, and secure him in a sarcophagus, never to be opened, with a warning to other demons that if you opened it, what came out would be their doom. And that leads us up to Doom 2016. And that's basically all the lore of that you get in the 14 pages. You don't get the bit about the priest doing the plan thing, because that's just common knowledge from Doom 2016. But yeah, so that's what you get from the Book of Kings. Now, some people would say, well, why would you want to play that as a DLC if you know the lore? And I say that's fair enough, but in my opinion, what you read and what you actually experience yourself are two different things. Now, I don't know if they will do it, because there could be a lot of different complicated things. They may not be able to have the Night Sentinels there. I think it'd be fun to fight with the Night Sentinels, especially if you get to live the legend of the Doomslayer. And that would sort of make it really cool, because then you could play Doom 1, 2, 64, Doom Eternal's DLC, then Doom 2016, then Doom Eternal, and you'd sort of have a nice rounded up storyline. But who knows, maybe they won't do it, maybe they will. But I just thought I'd give you my take on it, Because the thing I love about the Doom series, and there are people that are divided, there are people that love Doom 3, there are people that think Doom 3 isn't an actual Doom game, and they say, well, the only proper Dooms are 1, 2, 64, 2016 and Doom Eternal. I say, no, all Doom games are related. They are all Doom games, but in different dimensions. Yes, Dimension 1 is connected to Dimension 2, but that's because of things that, that's just where it is. But where Doom 3 is in its own dimension, you could probably expand on there a bit more and say that in between Dimensions 1 and 2's link, there's a link to Doom 2 Dimension 3, and that could work. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this lore DLC idea episode. I've never done one of these before, but I do hope you enjoy it. And if you did like my Afternoon with Jacob special on Doom Eternal and you want to see more, hit the like button and comment down below. I've been Jacob, and this has been Tricky Gamer Jacob, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.